Has NASA just found the gates of heaven? Since man first stepped on the moon, NASA, with its brilliant team of scientists, astronomers, and researchers, has created the most unimaginable spacecrafts that have toured our galaxy for decades, revealing the mysteries of the cosmos, and now they have just revealed a terrifying image captured by the Hubble Space Telescope that might determine the fate of our existence. Could the Hubble Space Telescope have discovered heaven? Join us as we unravel the intrigue of the Hubble Space Telescope's discovery of heaven. An intriguing photograph that was allegedly leaked from NASA's Hubble telescope has once again resurfaced. On December 26, 1994, at NASA's office in the United States, scientists were left in shock by the pictures captured by the Hubble telescope. As they deciphered the image, it strangely revealed a large white city somewhere in space. The NASA team was caught off guard, still in shock at what they had just seen. They couldn't swiftly respond when the Hubble web server was mysteriously made public. Consequently, the images, typically reserved for exclusive study in closed astronomical laboratories, became accessible to the global audience. Within a very short time, the photos circulated widely across the internet. The US government swiftly classified the images to control the public unrest, restricting the pictures from the public, but they were not fast enough as a photographer in Ellington Airfield had already taken snapshots and was showcasing this image that had a stunning galactic landscape with towers, pillars, caves, and structures that looked like man-made buildings. One of the pictures that was taken had a foggy spot, and Ken Wilson, a professor at the University of Florida, armed with a handheld magnifier, studied the photograph for more detail. In the professor's investigation, he discovered that the foggy spot had an unusual shape. It was clear that there was no error or interference during the image transmission from the Hubble to Earth, and the experts at NASA were sure that the distortion observed couldn't be attributed to the diffraction of the telescope lenses. So after an urgent meeting, NASA representatives decided to recapture the area where the anomaly was detected, and for this mission, they programmed the Hubble telescope for the highest possible resolution and precisely directed the telescope lenses at a specific section of the starry sky. After several tense minutes, the telescope captured a photograph without wasting time. The image was shown on a very big projection screen in the laboratory, seizing the undivided attention of the gathered scientists. The previously foggy spot was now clear and it unsettled the observers. It looked like a structure that produced light from itself and at the same time looked like a city. This presumed city was similar to those that were constructed following the classical conventions of speculative fiction and futuristic depictions of cities from distant times. Radiating with an otherworldly glow, the structure extended into the boundless expanse of space, spanning billions of distant kilometers. This mysterious city was named a City of God. Most people believed it was heaven. Someone from NASA suggested that maybe the city was home to departed souls. But let's be real, these ideas from NASA folks sound too wild. They're trying to convince us of things that sound more like stories than science. As scientists investigated the pictures the Hubble telescope further, they discovered something interesting. The city wasn't just sitting there, it moved along with the galaxies. This movement followed the rules in the Big Bang Theory, sticking to the universe's laws. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. Scientists noticed another thing about how the city moves. Imagine a 3D model of far-off parts of the universe showing up on a big screen. It wasn't like the universe was moving away from us, it was the other way around. It was like the Earth was moving away from the City of God, making some kind of center in the universe. And they even used a computer model to show how galaxies drift away from the city. So, the more they explore, the more mysterious and amazing the City of God becomes. It's like a puzzle where every piece reveals a new secret about the universe. And it challenges us to think beyond what we know, keeping the curiosity alive for what lies beyond our world. There are many claims that NASA attempted to hide this extraordinary image from the public. The motive behind this alleged cover-up remains unclear, but it sparks curiosity about the potential reasons for concealing such a breathtaking cosmic spectacle. This discovery, the most important scientific data ever collected, has not been publicly released for fear that it may cause worldwide panic, which is somewhat too vague and hard to believe. The computer-enhanced images were safely kept from public view. Upon close inspection, the photograph reveals intricate details that challenge the notion of natural formations. Towers, domes, and even a structure resembling a watchtower are discernible. The image appears to depict a galactic city with peculiar geography, questioning the authenticity of its natural origins. Moving around all of these structures were also angels. Yes, angels. Scientists thought at first that they had discovered a new star cluster, because the colors were bright and powerful, but within minutes, it became glaring that these were lifelike figures they were looking at. NASA sources claim the angels are a brilliant orange color. It was reported that a group of angels were seen flying together, and a picture was taken of the 3-billion-year-old star cluster NGC 3532. The astronomers thought the unusual transmissions were distorted as a result of an anticipated malfunction on the $1.5 billion Hubble telescope, but later, a clearer view showed that the angels were about 50 foot tall and had wings and mist-like halos. A space engineer said they were about 50 feet tall and had wingspans as large as airplanes. They all had round and peaceful faces. It seemed as though they were overjoyed at being photographed by the Hubble telescope. They seemed to be smiling at each other, as if they were letting the rest of the universe in on a glorious secret. Space agency officials recalled that the sighting of angels is not even the first scientific proof that angels and heaven exist. A scientist from Russia who defected to the United States in 1985 says that the Soviet cosmonauts encountered a similar band of bright and smiling angels on the 20th day of the Soyuz mission several years ago. According to him, they will probably find millions of angels up there. The Hubble telescope will operate, and the American and Soviet governments will release the overwhelming evidence that angels are watching over us. Adding to the intrigue, the image was allegedly shared with the public just a day after Christmas in 1994. The timing of this revelation sparks curiosity, prompting us to ponder whether there was a deliberate intent behind unveiling the celestial marvel during a time typically associated with goodwill and spiritual reflections. Christmas, as we know, is a season wrapped in a spirit of warmth, compassion, and spirituality where people engage in festive celebrations, spend time with loved ones, and reflect on the values of love, hope, and kindness. During this time, there's a heightened sense of openness to the extraordinary, the miraculous, and the divine. Hence, the timing of the image's release, strategically positioned after Christmas, seems almost choreographed to captivate the public's attention. In the post-Christmas period, people are often in a state of heightened spiritual sensitivity, making them more receptive to notions of wonder and celestial significance. This would only make a story like this spread like wildfire, sparing nobody. The timing appears impeccable, strategically leveraging the season's sentiments to gain attention. Speaking of validity, some people claim that NASA indeed found the most unexpected. Whether or not the things we see in this image are real or are just made-up fiction is yet to be known for sure, but one thing is certain, and it is that people have been claiming that NASA found evidence of some religious tradition or another for decades. As scientists started digging into the clockwork of the universe, people started claiming to find evidence of the divine. In a similar narrative in 2016, an image circulating online was reported to feature the gates of heaven nestled into a nebula. Captions featured the usual claims that scientists were hampered by what they had found, but that wasn't true because the image was fake. More accurately, it was a work of art later co-opted to sell a religious story online. The image was one of a number of similar works by Adam Ferris, an artist known to use a pixel sorting process to create art out of Hubble images. Ferris began with an actual Hubble image of Messier 17, the Swan Nebula, and created the so-called gates of heaven by sorting the pixels to create stacks. Ferris never made any claims of legitimacy about his work, but it was later picked up by third parties who attached the Heaven's Gate narrative. Similarly, the image of the heavens was also originally published in a weekly world news story called A Heaven Photographed by Hubble Telescope. The story was republished online in 2009. Although weekly world newspapers were famously known for being a supermarket tabloid concerned with half-bat, half-human hybrids and figuring out whether you were descended from aliens, this particular story of the heavens from them caught the intrigue of many. The story is built on a weak foundation of truth. It begins talking about Hubble's recent repairs, as earlier discussed, the ones that corrected the mirror defect and the first clear images taken afterward. According to the paper, astronomers pointed Hubble at the edge of the universe and saw a brilliant celestial city floating in space. The image, like the magazine itself, is in black and white. It looks like a distant city, or maybe a large house on a hill, set against a dark, star-speckled sky. Spikes of light sprawl from the edges of the city, stretching out into space at odd angles. It helps to sell the image, giving the city a heavenly look, but many would argue that this also reveals its artificial nature, claiming that the spikes are all wrong. Showing that they are a flaw in the image that appeared when the image was intentionally brightened, producing an odd effect of bloom and contrast. The second photo makes the same argument, showing a similar subject from a different angle, revealing the bloom and contrast error. The argument for this being a fabrication is strengthened by the fact that, although both images show the same effect, the second is far more subtle and all but eliminated in the second image of the heaven. This would imply that the second photograph was taken to reduce the bloom effect and create a sharper image. Whether it shows that someone took two images or manipulated the first image twice is up to debate. While images of the heavens may be fabricated, the photographs of the angels were actually an officially documented part of the Russian Soyuz space mission, giving them more credibility. On July 12, 1984, Soviet cosmonauts Leonid Kazym, Vladimir Solovyov, and Oleg Atkov saw 7 angels in space. Then, 11 days later, they were joined by 3 more cosmonauts, including Svetlana Savitskaya, and the angelic beings appeared again, filling the entire spacecraft and surrounding the space station for 10 minutes. They were described as having wings and mist-like halos as well as smiling faces. Even the Russian state media declared the sighting as a powerful indication of the existence of heavenly beings. However, American scientists suggested that the sighting may have been caused by a spike in pressure inside the spacecraft, causing the angels to be a shared hallucination. Scientists claim that the sudden change in pressure could have caused fluid to press against the cosmonauts' brains and activated the release of chemicals that are known to trigger visual hallucinations. Based on these previous attempts at fabrications, it is also safe to say that this more recent story about Hubble discovering the City of God might just be another fabrication like previous accounts.